My name is Linda Kay. I'm from Manteca, California, which is in the Central California Valley, and I am here at the Century Wellness Clinic for a follow-up checkup now, which is a nice thing to say because it was about 9 months ago I discovered one day I was home alone on a Sunday watching a movie, and I was adjusting myself in my seat and my hand brushed against the side of my breast, and I felt something hard, and I realized immediately in touching it that it wasn't good. It was the size of a walnut, and I knew it had to be cancer. I just knew. It was just, you just know. And I sat back and I watched the end of my movie, much to the surprise of a lot of people that I tell the story to. And they said, weren't you all upset and frazzled over the horrible realization it could be cancer? And I said, actually, it was more, okay, we have another challenge in front of us, something to deal with, but it's Sunday afternoon. I'm not going to be able to talk to anybody, so I'm going to watch my movie. And that's kind of how my husband and I both approached the whole thing. It was a new challenge for us along our journey. And I am a life coach, which probably helps because I do have some strategies that I can incorporate for myself as well as my clients. So perhaps that was part of it. I don't know. But I went through the normal process. I went through the process and got the lumpectomy. As it turned out, I had stage 2 breast cancer. And then I had a sentinel node that was infected, and they wanted to take all these lymph nodes, which really upset me because I was very holistic minded and very health conscious and knew that my body needed those lymph nodes. Well, of course, now it's coming out that you don't have to have them all taken out, but at the time I was following the traditional approach. And then that's when it happened. I went to an oncologist in my area on my insurance plan, and he offered me literally 4 possible treatments, and he asked me, the patient, which one sounded best to me. And I'm sitting there with my brain thinking, shouldn't you know what I need the most? I went home that night questioning the conversation because he also told me I had to stop all my supplements during this chemo treatment, and then it was on to radiation. And it was all against my grain of what I knew about my body and my health and things I'd studied over the years. So it turned out that night I got actually for the first time a little bit angry at the whole thing, the whole idea of it. And the next morning, a very dear friend called me from Montana, insisted I get the book Knockout. And she said, please just do it right away. And I did. I read it, took 2 days off and just read through everything. And that weekend on Sunday morning, about 6 a.m., I had made my choice. I was going to Reno, and I was going to go to Dr. Forsythe. He had the application of the things that were important to me, like incorporating the holistic approach and supplements and all of that. Well, I gave him a call, got my appointment, made my plans. I had to stay 3 weeks in Reno for the initial fit part of the program, and I was thrilled. The other thing that really got me was the idea of having the Greek test. I have to say, I don't understand why the United States doesn't offer this, but I had the Greek test where they sent my blood sample over to Greece, and then they come back telling you exactly what kind of chemo treatment, if you need it, is best for your body and your cancer. It just made such logical sense to me. When it came back, I found out several other things, like vitamin C was important for me, maybe not for other people, but for my body to fight this. So now I was armed with the right chemo, knew the treatment, and it was only a 10% process of chemo instead of the full dose, which in my mind made more sense because the less I had to do things in my body that went against my grain, the more I was happy. So I went through the process, went to the chemo process. It was every week I'd come up on a Friday morning. We'd leave at 5:30 in the morning, had my routine, got to the clinic, did my treatment. My husband was kind enough to drive me back home. We were back at my house 5:30 in the afternoon. It was a long day of driving, but it was perfect. It worked out, and I could go to work on Monday. I still worked 4 days a week. So with this in mind, I work with someone who had been through this process and was very supportive, which was wonderful. However, everyone around me kept referring to it as surviving cancer, fighting cancer, all these horrible terminologies that I didn't believe in. And I said to them one day, I said, you know, I'm not a cancer survivor. I don't survive the flu. I don't survive a cold. I get over it. And that's what I'm planning to do with the cancer. I'm getting over it. I'm taking care of it, and I'm getting over it. And happily, my marker numbers are way down. I came back now for the 3-month checkup, and I'm basically I'm in remission. And only time will tell what's going to happen, but I have not felt better in my whole life. That's the one part that is touching to me. I've never cried because I had cancer. I never felt sorry for myself. It's just something you have to deal with sometimes. So now when I talk about it, the only thing that gets me a little choked up is that I found this. I'm so grateful that I found the clinic and I found Dr. Forsythe, and I saw other people who had been through the same treatments. They were coming back for their follow-ups with all these wonderful success stories. I couldn't feel more positive and better about anything in my life. So I guess I just want to say I'm thankful to the person who called up and insisted that I read that book, Knockout. Thankful that Dr. Forsythe was one of the ones listed, and I really his story and his testimonials from his clients resonated with me, and I thought, you know what? If they can do it, I can do it. This is custom made for me, and that's why I'm here. And I feel great about it. So thank you for listening. I appreciate being able to share my story, because to me, it is part of a journey. That's it. We're on a journey, and I am getting through this process in the best way that I know how. And when you have the right kind of help, it makes a huge difference. So thank you very much, Dr. Forsythe.